In 2008, the system died, and it was just put on this money printing life support to hide what was really happening until they could get the next iteration of a financial system in place. Intaintent is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, so we've got to talk about debt, because can you really fix a too much debt problem with even more debt? No, you cannot. But you can take advantage of the circumstances if you're up at the top, us little people down at the bottom. Maybe not so much. But we have to talk about what's happening with debt, because we are at the absolute end of this currency's life cycle. There just isn't a whole lot more purchasing power to be inflated away. And yet that's where we're evolving to. So here we go. U.S. companies to boost their borrowing in 2006. Shocker. And who's telling us this? Wells Fargo. But JP Morgan also sees an AI boom driving record bond sales. Make no mistake, a bond is a debt instrument, is just a longer one. Whoa. So, I mean, this is happening all over the world. In Japan, 32 billion borrowing binge reshapes global credit. Do you see what's happening here? These companies all know that we're declaring bankruptcy, that the government, the central banks, because there's only one way to fight deflation, which a debt bomb exploding. Quite honestly, what does that do? It's very deflationary, because everything implodes. Markets implode, real estate implodes, everything implodes, and we're already on the downside of this. So why not? If you know you're going to declare bankruptcy, why not take on a more credit? But I hope you can see the gold coins all around this desk. Because if you're holding gold when this happens, and if you're holding silver when this becomes apparent to everybody, you will be in the best position possible to take advantage of what happens, right? Never let a good crisis go to waste. Why does it always have to be those at the top that get to take advantage of it? Because when we're looking at all of this level of debt, it's just higher and higher and higher, because the more debt they grow, the less impact that debt has. And the Federal Reserve has certainly learned that from coming in since 2008, right? The more they do this, the less impact all of it has on pushing up the prices. Not that that's prices don't go to nosebleed levels, but let me tell you, there's only so much debt that you can take on. Look at this. Annual overseas note issuance. So a note is also debt. It's just a little shorter term, is on course to exceed debt sales in yen for the first time ever. The first time, because there really is no choice. Japan especially, they've been the poster child for how to fight deflation, and really it hasn't worked. But again, insanity is doing the same thing and getting different results. But honestly, that's our assumption, that we are really expecting different results, isn't it? Because the reality is the level of debt that's been created as we've gone through these different cycles from 2008 to the next big debt explosion that happened in 2020. So what's next? Well, a lot of crisis is next, and a lot more debt. And I cannot stress this enough. You cannot fix a too much debt problem with even more debt. But truthfully, how do you deal with all of this layers of debts? Because it just keeps going up and up and up. Does a tree grow to the sky? No. You have to have a correction along the way. And that's where what the banks do is leverage that debt. This is a graph on the derivatives. It's inside of the FDIC insured bank. So why do you care about this? Because it's taking that mountain of debt and putting even more leverage and debt on top of it. So these banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, a Bank of America, Citibank, these large banks have taken all the debt that they've issued and then conducted God knows how many leverage bets against them, but it's higher than it was in 2008. That level of leverage, which means that this next big debt explosion is going to be a whole lot worse than it was in 2008. In 2008, the system died and it was just put on this money printing life support to hide what was really happening until they could get the next iteration of a financial system in place. And what I'm holding in my hands are the representations of digital currencies that are quite designed to look like gold. Because even though they poo-poo gold, and of course now they're starting to see the value in it, Wall Street but they have poo-pooed it because they don't want you to hold it because it is the only financial instrument that runs zero counterparty risk. A contract is all counterparty risk, and we are very much at risk. But what I think is extraordinarily important is what I'm showing you here on this graph is that net demand here in 2025 is outpacing the demand that was set during the last financial crisis in 2009. That's extreme. That matters so much. In tonnage terms, demand has also been robust with North American funds on track for their third strongest year on record. Yeah, why? Because gold and silver physical in your possession is a savings-based currency. That's why gold is the primary currency metal. Silver is the secondary currency metal and cannot be inflated away because it has the broadest base of use and therefore the broadest base of demand. And that's what takes it away from being an asset that can be manipulated and controlled and devalued. They can create as much of this as they want. And what does that do? Well, that suppresses the price that you see those spot contracts. But they don't refer to those spot gold and spot silver contracts as spot contracts. They refer to them as gold and silver, just like they're doing with these cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, making it look like it's gold. Do not be fooled. Education is key because after all, how many times can you be lied to when you do not know the truth? You want honest money. That's the problem, is that it's debt money, but honest money, savings-based money. That's the antidote. And that's what puts you in the best possible position to sustain your reasonable standard of living today and take advantage of those opportunities that are headed our way tomorrow and not very far down this road. I know that there are opportunities because what the Zang Enterprise sound money strategy is based on is those repeatable patterns. How about for once in this massive wealth transfer scheme, how about for once that wealth transitions your way? You can do that just by holding your purchasing power intact. That's all. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. You don't need to be some special kind of engineer to understand gold and silver. Physical gold and silver, it's real. It runs no counterparty risk. It has the greatest demand. And we need to get this in the global monetary system again, because if we allow the digital system to take over, are you ready to be a complete slave? I'm not. That's not what I want to leave. That's not the legacy to leave for our children. So join me in this sound money movement locally. Create that community around you so that you can create that shitty in food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Get it done. We are fast running out of time, and not you nor I will know the exact second that that debt bubble is going to explode. But you better be prepared when that happens, because there won't be any time to do it after that. The time to get prepared is now. And the time to join the global sound money movement and demand sound money back in our global monetary system again, that time is now. And I know that together we can do this because we've got the 99% that are ruled by the 1%. So if we get 3% of the global population to participate in this, we got everything we need to protect our savings, to protect our children, and to take our power back. What a concept. One person can't do it, but together we can. And until next we meet, please be safe out there.